How's it going, people? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do another top 5 for you guys. Obviously I started off with the top 5 players of the season for 2018-19, and today with the summer transfer window looming, I'm going to talk about the top 5 players I believe we should sell to move forward at Arsenal Football Club. It's a difficult one because you know what? I don't see Arsenal replacing or selling on 5 players this summer, mainly because we're already losing Ramsey, we're already losing Xhaka, and we're already losing Danny Welbeck potentially to free transfers. So player sales wise, I don't see us selling more than probably 3. So doing a top 5 was difficult, but what I've incorporated in is just the players that I believe we're going to have to improve on in the next 1 to 2 windows to get Arsenal to a level that all us fans want us to be at. At number 5 I got Xhaka. I'd keep Xhaka for another year, but it's definitely someone we need to improve on. Yes, he's added grit and a bit of fight, but he gives the ball away a hell of a lot, like way too much, and I'm sure he's still on top of the most given away passes leading to the opposition goals this season. Add that to a Mustafi and you know, it goes a long way in explaining the troubles at Arsenal, especially defensively. He was brought in to protect the defence. We have made an improvement in the middle since he has come in, but it's not the improvement we need. He's still not good enough. Like, as you can see, we still have results like the Palace game or the Southampton game where it's not the Arsenal you expect. Yes, we've made improvements this year, but there's still many more improvements we've made, and in the middle of the park especially. Yes, Xhaka and Terrea might have been our best partnership this season, but moving forward, it's simply not good enough. I think Terrea is good enough, and that's someone to build around in the middle. I think he's got the right attributes to play in the middle, especially defensively. He's dynamic, but with Xhaka, he's way too one-footed for my liking. Like, all the defenders know, all the people coming to get the ball off him know that he's going to go on his left. He very rarely goes on his right, and he can't kick with his right. So that goes a long way in explaining why he gives the ball away so much. When defenders know which way you're going to turn, when they know what you're going to do, they already got the march on you. So that's a big problem for me. You need someone mobile in the middle, mobile enough to go both ways. I know Ozil's not the type of player Xhaka is, but we just miss someone like that in the middle. Someone that can get out of a tight space, both-footed, and someone that can get the ball from our half to the opposition half very quickly, swiftly. And Xhaka is not that guy for me. He's too much of a sideways passer. He doesn't really take ownership in games. Yes, he has an amazing game once in a while where he'll dominate the middle, but it's too few and far between for me. So at number 5, definitely Granit Xhaka is someone we're going to need to improve on. But like I said at the beginning, I don't expect all changes to be made this summer. Out of this top 5, I do expect 3 of them to be moved on to get better players in their position. Number 4, I'm going to go for Callum Chambers. The forgotten man at Arsenal, loaned out multiple times. We've signed him to a new contract last summer and then loaned him out again. The team we loaned him out to are relegated. I wouldn't put that down to him. He's actually come away from the season with some plaudits. He's played defensively, he's played in the midfield a couple of times as well. So with Chambers, is someone that I thought could make it. He had the attributes there, especially coming from Southampton, where their youth program, many teams have exploited that. What is he now, 24? He's only on about 30-40k, which is not going to take a massive amount off the wage bill, but it's someone we obviously don't need. We've got Holding, we've got Socrates, we've got Koscielny on the last year, we've got Mavropanos, and we need to buy a centre-back this summer. So we're going to need to move 1 or 2 on. And in my opinion, someone like Callum Chambers, we've got him tied down to a deal now. Surely his value is probably maybe 15 mil we can get for him. And at Arsenal Football Club, with money, you know, every little counts for us at the moment. So with Chambers, I'll definitely move him on. Like I said, I admired him when he first came. I thought he could kick on, but it just hasn't worked out for him. So he'd definitely be one to move on. Defensively, he hasn't kicked on. Like, when you look at Holding's improvements this year, that's something that I expected from Chambers a couple of years ago. It just hasn't happened. So bearing in mind the Holding and Mavropanos improvements over the past 18 months, I just feel like Callum Chambers isn't needed anymore. I'm just getting him off the books. Let's just move on, get rid of the players that we don't need. I'm tired of having just players on our books that don't do anything, you know what I mean? So definitely Chambers in at number 4. Moving on to number 3, Henrikh Mkhitaryan. A player we got in the Sanchez deal. We was happy at the time, and yes, he has had good performances here and there, but the inconsistency is there for everyone to see. He'll have 1, 2, 3 good games and then 7, 8 bad ones, and it's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club. Similar with Ozil, I just don't feel he has the fight and determination left in him. I feel like he's just here to be here. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's enjoying his football. It doesn't look like the Henrikh Mkhitaryan I wanted 4 or 5 years ago when United signed him off Dortmund. I was a big admirer of him. He was a big game player. He would take games by the scruff of their neck and win games. But it just hasn't worked out for him in the Premier League. Obviously at United, I thought it was a lot down to Mourinho. He has made little improvements since coming to Arsenal with the free-flowing football, and it suits him more. But too inconsistent, and he's on about 200k. Like, definitely not worth it. Think about the players we can bring in for that amount. Do you know what I mean? When you look around the league, you see Bernardo Silva on 150, you see David Silva on 200, you see Eriksen on 70. Yes, Eriksen's on the last year of his contract. Yes, he will move on, but it's like when you compare around the league, that's what you have to do, and it's just simply not good enough. Do you know what I mean? Mkhitaryan is probably past his best, similar to a couple of players at our squad, and getting the 200k off the wage will be massive for us. Will be massive in terms of buying players, because that 200k alone a week can go towards a massive player. Yes, there'll be a fee involved, but look at January. We had a big issue with wages. We couldn't sign anyone in January because of wages. So it's something that we definitely have to look at. Yes, we get a 7% increase this summer due to the rolling increase that you get, but it's still not good enough. We're in Europa League. We're not making the profits that Kroenke expected when he first come in. So this 7% is really hitting us hard. Our 7% to wages is not the same 7% Man City, Liverpool, even Tottenham. Look at their profit this year get. So their scope for wages, their scope for buying players is at the moment bigger than ours. And that's going to be the case for a little while until we sort out the wage structure at our club, because we've essentially fucked it all up. And Mkhitaryan is definitely one of the people on top of that list that need to move on and save us some money. It's a shame we're talking about saving money at a massive club like Arsenal, but that's what it's come down to now. Do you know what I mean? Go to the top 2 players I'd want to sign. I want to see both of them sold, if I'm honest. I want to see both of them sold. You know what, a few weeks ago these two were switched around differently. Like, number 2 was different to number 1, but over the past couple of weeks I've just kind of had to move both around. So at number 2 I'm going to go for Mesut Ozil. Similar to Mkhitaryan, I feel like he's on too much wages at the club. Quality player on his day. Obviously a Turkish guy as well, so obviously I've supported him from young, but it just hasn't worked out now. Arsenal come before any individual player for me, and I just believe we kind of essentially fucked up by giving him that wage. It's not his fault, it's definitely Arsenal Football Club's fault. Wenger and Gazidis have a big part to play in that, but here and now, wages is a big problem. He's on massive wages, and the problem is, if you ask me what I'll do with Mesut Ozil, it would be to keep him on less wages. That would be the first thing I would want to do, but essentially that's impossible right now. Who's going to take a pay cut a year and a half after signing a 350k bumper deal? It's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen, but that's what I would want to do, because he's a quality player, and if you build a team good enough around him, not saying build the team around Ozil, but if you have a team good enough around him, he will excel. He will have the space to get away with what he doesn't get away with at the moment. Like, at Arsenal Football Club, we're so limited with quality players that I even pick him out a lot. Do you know what I mean? I don't blame him for defeats. That's one thing that I don't do. A lot of people feel like I blame him for defeats because I mention him after interviews and whatnot. I don't blame Ozil for defeats. It's never an individual fault. Even Mustafi against Palace, he is the reason we conceded the second goal, but there's other factors to the defeat. Do you know what I mean? With Ozil, I can't blame him for any defeat this season, but what I can say is I haven't seen enough fight determination, and I haven't seen him impose himself enough on games this season. That can be because Emery has kept him in and out of the team, so it's been a bit difficult for him to get consistency. But you know what, since he's been in the team, he has been working a bit harder, but it seems like his quality hasn't matched the quality we've seen in previous years. So Mesut Ozil, 350k, I feel like if we want to get a big name player in, it's someone we're going to have to look at moving on. At the end of the day, like I said to Robbie a couple of weeks ago, I said, what other teams in England spend over 300k on 2 players? None. So why would Arsenal be the first team to do it? We want another big player. We want another player that deserves the 300k. But we're not going to get that currently with Mesut Ozil there. So we have to look at Mesut Ozil and say, is he the man that can lead? Is he the star man at this team that deserves that money? The wage problem goes down to the summer transfer window in terms of buying players as well, because when you go to negotiate with players, similar to what happened with Ramsey, negotiating Ramsey was very difficult because of what we gave Ozil. Now in the summer, when we're going to buy players, let's say we go for Pepe at Lille, let's say we get the fee accepted. When he's asking for wages, he knows he cannot ask for as much as Ozil, but he knows he can ask for at least half. Prior to us signing Ozil for 350k, Pepe would have probably accepted 100k. But now the wage structure is what it is at Arsenal, with Mickey on 200 and Ozil on 350. Someone like Pepe could easily ask for 150k. Is he worth it? I don't know at the moment. Obviously, it depends on how someone like him might adjust to the league. But the wage structure at Arsenal right now is such that it can allow players to ask for more than their value, because we're currently paying a hell of a lot of players more than their value. It's not only Ozil. I do get onto Ozil a lot, but it's definitely not only Ozil. There's other, like I mentioned, Mkhitaryan, he's definitely another one. Mustafi is another one. And Kolasinac is a player I like, but for 140k, it's someone that you add to a team that's already rolling well. Do you know what I mean? Kolasinac is not someone I'd look to move on, because I feel like he offers a great attacking threat. I just feel like defensively he needs to improve. But this just highlights the wage structure at Arsenal, do you know what I mean? So that's my reasoning behind Ozil being one to be sold this summer. I just feel like moving forward, he's 30, turning 31 next season. He, in my opinion, he's never been worth star player money, but here he is at star player money at Arsenal. If we go into next season with him still at the club, then I expect us to have a couple flary wingers either side of him at least, to try and get the best out of him. Do you know what I mean? Because even when Ozil was with Giroud, I was a big advocate of, listen, Ozil's not going to excel under Giroud. Even though he got the 19 assist season, I always said that he needs runners off him. Now we have Oba and Laka, we have no wingers. So I guess that could be attributed to it as well. So if the summer comes and we can't move Mesut Ozil on because of wages or because of transfer fee, then we need to go all out and make sure we get the wingers to support him. Otherwise, we'll have another season next year of debating whether he's good enough. We'll have another season debating wages. Like, it's something we need to sort out. Either move him on or support him well enough for him to. And this leads me on to number one. Like I said, this changed over the last couple of weeks, but number one for me is Shkodran Mustafi, man. The guy's a fucking mess. The guy's a fucking mess. I could end it there, because that's all there is to say about him. Like, you see performance against Palace, you've seen other Tottenham. Like, the guy does, I call them Mustafi moments, because I don't know what else to call them. Do you know what I mean? He at least does one a game. Like, certain games he'll have an excellent game, like the Tottenham one, but one moment of stupidity, going to push Harry Kane in his back for little to no reason, is just, and it cost us the two more points that day. And when you look at the top 4 race this season, then points could turn out to be essential. So Mustafi is definitely one that we definitely need to move on. He's on 90 to 100k a week. He's well overpaid, and it's an area we definitely need to improve. And our defence, in terms of goals conceded, hasn't improved this season. It's been as much of a mess as it has been the last couple. Yes, we're more resilient as a team. Yes, we grind out a few more results than we have done the past couple of years. But if we want to push on, look at Liverpool, Alisson and Van Dijk. Look at their defensive record now. It's not their attack that's got them in the title challenge this season, it's their defence. Klopp knew the areas he needed to adjust on. He knew he had Salah, Mane up front. He knew the attack was fine. He just needed to add some stability in the middle and at the back, and he'd done that. Alisson, Van Dijk, Keita, Fabinho, he's done that. Similar to Man City, Pep came in the first year, it didn't go to plan. Or you know what, he probably didn't have a plan. He wanted to review the team. That's what he done. In the summer, he bought a whole new defence. He bought a new keeper. What's that done? It's won them a league, and it's potentially winning them a second league this season. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, that's something we're going to have to look at. That's something we're going to have to look at, because in terms of us getting back to winning the league, we're going to need to sort the defence out. It's a vital area. You look at United, an area they haven't managed to sort out. Yes, they've had De Gea, but they haven't brought the defenders needed in front of him to excel. Chelsea seem to be in a similar situation. Since Terry's gone, since Cahill's fallen off, they've gone downhill in terms of defensively and their structure efficiency. So moving forward, that's definitely someone we need to sell, because we need a big centre back in, someone massive, someone with a name, someone with authority, someone that's going to shape this defence up. Socrates is a welcome addition last summer, but I feel like we need a Koulibaly this summer to kind of really push on defensively. And that's my top 5. That's my top 5 players to sell this summer or next. Or that's the top 5 players we need to replace. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree? What names would you add and what names would you take out? I'm ready for all the Ozil abuse I'm about to get, but I tried to explain it as fairly as possible. It's nothing against the guy, and I would actually keep him at the squad if he was on less wages, so we can buy someone there next to him, like a Sanchez, to support him and give him the freedom and space needed for him to excel. But That's my top 5, man. That's my top 5. So yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe, share, do all of that stuff, and I'll be back again soon.